I think we're starting. So hello everybody and welcome Sean, Chuba, Jim, Mike, Mukund, Nick, and Tommy so far. I usually gave you the ability to talk, but then we have the robots attacking us. Well, that's life. So instead, when you need to, tell me, I want to talk. But other than that, I'm sharing the screen, giving you the link, and continuing to talk. Right there. And the thing that I need to give you is our place where we are. So here we are, we're doing advances in AI. I think that is a good name by now. And we've been around for about 2 years. Every week we go and do something, and you will see what we're doing today. And the biggest thing about what we're doing as opposed to everybody else is that we're trying it. Okay, so let us start. I will chat a little bit to you guys like this. I will say hello everyone. Okay, and you can reply to me, you can tell me where you're coming from, meaning where you're logging in, where you're connecting, where you're streaming. I'm in Houston. And you are also in Houston. Tommy is in Houston. All right. Well, what you need is that link. I'm giving you that link in the form of the bit.ly link. There you are. You can open that, and once you open it, your little picture will appear somewhere here. Okay. Hi, Jim from LA. Okay, one picture appeared. Okay, here we are. Now, what you have here are additional things. So that's Mark, my name. Hi, Suresh from California. And that's the webinar. That is who has all of the slides, data, prints, but today it will be all linked on the internet. There is also a learning path because very often people ask, what would be a good learning path? Well, here it is. That would be a good learning path. And since I mentioned it, let me click on that. So by now, this learning path became pretty long. You see, 46 entries. Hi, Vallejo. Hi, George from Vallejo. Okay, so I started right here when Andrew Ng just started sending his courses. Now he sends not one a week. He was doing it one every 2 weeks, then one a week. Now it is essentially 2 courses every week. And I think they're all essential. They're all different. So you can start right here. These two are the basics. And you can also find his courses all right here. But by now I started adding other courses from other places. And I think they all had add a little bit. So that's where we are. Today we'll talk about 2 or 3 courses out of here. We'll come back. We'll come back here. But now I have a plan of what I want to do today. So first of all, let's reverse. Usually we go theory first and blah, blah first, and then some practice. But now I'm going to start from practice. I'm going to theory, and Cher, who is in London, she asked a question. And the question was, since we were looking at agentic, now let me go back for a second. Agentic, meaning agents, right? We understand it's agents. But we were talking about this AI agentic design pattern that came out of Microsoft. Microsoft and Penn University composed the course together, and we looked at it yesterday, and we understood basically that you can program two agents and they will talk to each other. Okay, that sounds like something great. And so we looked at two stand-up comedians. By the way, ChatGPT gives you exactly the same jokes. He might be varying his answers on other things, but somehow jokes are the same every time. So his stand-up comedians were exchanging jokes, and Cher had an idea. What if she pitches three agents and they play out a scene in court? And that's what she said right here. And I copy pasted her suggestion. And would it be possible to create a three-agent chat dialogue to analyze a court case scenario? But before I started programming, it occurred to me that first of all, I don't know exactly who those guys are. Who is a judge? Who is the defender? Who is the claimer? And what exactly do they have to do? So I thought I will ask ChatGPT, and then it occurred to me a very important thing. That's a problem not for the programmer. That's a problem for a prompt engineer, so to say, for somebody who sets up the questions. And I stuck it into ChatGPT. So first of all, it gave me a complete answer. That's very nice, and I will show it to you in a second. And secondly, it returned the way to preserve your dialogue and send it to others. It was there for a while, then it disappeared, it's back. So I'm clicking on that. I'm going into ChatGPT. Now, you might think that's only because you, Mark, are logged in here, right? So no, I'm copying this and I'm going into an incognito window right here. That's incognito? No. Where is it? Here, new incognito window. Okay, and go there. And it's still open. So that proves the point. You don't have to be logged in and you can send anybody. Today is June 7, but I did it yesterday night. I think it was done pretty late, so it came out June 7th too. But in any case, it's done for you here. So, well, that's the answer. You want to have, that's the question. I copy pasted Cher's question and ChatGPT said, yes, first of all, I understand what you mean, even if you don't. And here is a scenario for that. So obviously they argue about some wrongful eviction, and I gave you the link. If you want to read this invented scene, you can. That is not my intent anyway. Closing that. But there is something that I'm illustrating really. And what I'm illustrating is that before you start coding, and that would be a question to code and do it similar to what we did yesterday or last time. Before you do this, well, what's the problem? You can analyze this with ChatGPT, and actually that is a good design pattern. So before you start programming, perhaps you need to figure out what questions will be asked, what answers will be given, and that is this course. Now, this course doesn't just illustrate that, it illustrates much more, so I was happy to discover that and give that to you. That's a course by, and I will have to stop right away.
Welcome to my class on using.
This is Jules White, and that's one of the first courses that I'm showing that is not from Andrew Ng, that is not from Deep Learning AI, but it also has a different orientation. Now, this guy, Jules White, he is something big at Vanderbilt University. He's a chief advisor and all of that. So that's his course, but his concentration is on teaching you how to work with ChatGPT and not how to program it, at least in this course. So he teaches you that you can extract a lot. For example, here he teaches you how to teach using ChatGPT, how to ask it for help. Say, I want a class in menu building, and I want you to teach it in a nice way. In other words, you are making him a teaching assistant for you. Okay, very nice. But then I realized that I listened to it already once, but I will have to listen to it again and summarize. And then I saw the button, give me a summary. But that was not all. So I'm saying, give me a summary of his ideas on how to use ChatGPT in education. So he gives me a summary right here. Sure. But then he says, what I really wanted is show me major points, and it puts them right here. You see that? How can ChatGPT be adapted to explain complex concepts in a specific audience? Or what are some ways educators can personalize content with ChatGPT? Or how can GPT be used to create personalized lessons for students? Now, that by itself is not interesting for every person, but what he teaches you is that there is an art to asking questions. Now, a long time ago, I was always against the term prompt engineering because I felt that it's fad, right? And the $400,000 a year payable to that kind of engineer, I thought that was very funny. But with this, and that's the first time that I see it, with this, I see that nobody will pay you 400,000, but they will appreciate you having those skills. So the skill is talking to ChatGPT. And by the way, it works with humans. So the skill is how really to talk. Now, people use this idea of Socratic dialogue, and I think that is a big, big misnomer because Socrates was a genius, and then you go into history of who he really was, but nobody knows how to talk like him. When we say Socratic dialogue, it's just plain stupid to me because no, that's you're just blabbling in the kitchen. That is not Socratic dialogue. But taking it away, it teaches you at least how to go that way, how to talk Socratic dialogue. Let's try at least one, and then we'll go back to, so how can you adapt it to complex situation is this. First of all, you can tell it you are this and that. You are a teacher, professional, you are teaching third graders, you adapt all the conversations to their level, you understand your own deficiencies, all of that you say to ChatGPT. Once you set the scene, it is able to continue for you. Well, the link is here. I honestly recommend that because if you're building anything with ChatGPT, then it's a good idea to know how you build it. And you start prototyping with that, and you realize how much capability that tool gives you. And he's talking to his 9-year-old. It's his own son, and that 9-year-old is interested in Pokemon. I, for example, don't even know what Pokemon is. Sorry to say, but I would be able to teach using Pokemon because ChatGPT would help me. So these are the major ideas that he gives here, and we're going back to where we were. And the idea was ChatGPT is actually capable of a lot. You don't have to invent all of that. You're still the creator. It's a philosophical question of who we are, we're humans, and what it is, what it does. But practically, you can use it as a helper, and that's most of the people who use AI. And that's what Sam Altman says. He uses him as a partner in brainstorming. And that makes sense, right? we still need to understand who we are, who we're humans, and what does it mean to have conscience. But that we understand by talking to ChatGPT. So, okay, good. That was the first thing. The first that you can do, as maybe you remember, I was interested in, okay, so I see how I make ChatGPT do what I want, but how do I program that? And I got in touch with Jules White on LinkedIn, and he was very nice. And right away he replied, he said, oh, but I have another course. There it is. So there is another course, which says now that you know what to say, now I'll teach you how to automate that. The course is right here. And that's a 3-week course. And you see, I shamefacedly admit that I have only done the introduction, but the introduction we can still do.
Welcome to my class on custom.
And
welcome to my class on custom
and
GPTs.
now give it me a summary, right? And give me the major points. Well, with all of that, we're wonderfully prepared to do anything. And I do have some practical projects as a teacher, as a trainer. That is the practice. Whatever I wanted to cover in the practice, that's right here with the 3 links for you to investigate further. Now, if you say something, I absolutely don't want to miss it. So I put the chat here. So I want to address it if you say something. But now let's go back to theory. That is an interesting thing that is brought to you essentially by my reading the news and specifically Andrew Ng news. But I pick out specific things. So hacking is what fascinates me. And there are 2 wonderful hacker attempts or successful attempts here. And all of that I got out of Andrew's news, but I'm interested in what he refers by the way. So first of all, there is Pliny the prompter, who is needed. By the way, whatever I said about ChatGPT equally applies to other models, and that is usually what people say. They say, and other models, because we know that today ChatGPT is just better and stronger all others. All right, Pliny the prompter is an example that you cannot control AI. This guy posts his hacks of ChatGPT. That's what he's talking about. And I'll let you investigate what that is. That's one thing. Another thing is the creators of another model called Claude. They published a paper of how you can hack Claude. Right here. It's called many-shot jailbreaking. What you want is you want to control ChatGPT or Claude so that it does what you want, not what it wants. And that's doable. If they describe the technique, then they ask the question, why are we publishing that? And you know the obvious answers that you can give. Here is an example of what happens. So if you just ask how build a bomb, it will say, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you. But if you ask the hacked model, many-shot jailbreaking, then it is telling you about everything. Here's how you build a bomb. Okay. Now, why does he want it is another story. He's talking about that there is an attempt to, I will call it essentially kill AI in California, and that already passed through some laws. And the way you kill it is this. You say that once you build AI, and once somebody else uses this AI to cause harm, then you are liable. So again, ChatGPT built an engine. And somebody used this engine to do bad things. Now ChatGPT is liable. Well, that bothers him, but Andrew is a politician in addition to scientist, so I don't have a big opinion on that. But he mentions that as an example that you can easily break any AI, and then he advances arguments why that should be stopped, meaning stopping the AI should be stopped. That's another thing. And then he also mentions that we're maybe a month or two away from an AI-enabled PC. Of course, our AI is everywhere, but by internet. But Microsoft puts out a new AI. We has Copilot. Copilot is what we have been using for AI, but it implements the AI in the chip. So May 20 is when it was talked about. And I don't think it is out. It's not in the stores, but that's what they talk about putting this AI on a chip, and on a chip, not requiring internet, but yes, requiring some more hardware. It is there. And my friends have been talking about this, like I can tell you under NDA that that's happening by now. By now it is happening here. What exactly that is, you will find out. Maybe you'll tell me, because I'm not a product reviewer. I'm interested in technology, but that's amazing. So you will probably tell me. Closing that was all in the news, right? And the next thing is agents. Again, agents. So to put it into the perspective, let me go back to the plan of study. That's a great plan of study. And in this plan of study, we looked at AI agentic, meaning that you have multiple software agents and they achieve better results than just one of them. So you thought that was great. Microsoft created this platform and Penn was using it and let us rejoice. But it turns out that a new course came out, and that course I will start. It's 5 minutes. I will reshare. I will stop sharing. I will share yet again. This time I will share with the sound. And I think they are the best people to introduce that whole idea. It seems like their AI agent is better than this AI agent, and it is graph based, so that you can graph a dialogue that you want to happen. Not that you say, okay, you three guys, duke it out between yourselves, but instead you say, here's the plan, and I want the dialogue to go according to this plan. Well, with that, I think it's good to click on that. And it is for 6 minutes, okay? 6 minutes, we can stop at the end, but at least 5 minutes, it's worth it.
Welcome to AI Agents in Langraph, built in partnership with LangChain and Tivoli, taught by Harrison Chase, co-founder and CEO of LangChain, as well as Gautam Weiss, who is co-founder and CEO of Tivoli. Harrison, it was not quite a year ago that we're working on our first course on LLM frameworks, and back then we had an agent example, but it was a little bit of a struggle to get it to work. Since then, I've seen many teams successfully build AI agents. What's your view on that?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andrew. We've seen many people successfully building agentic applications now. And I think there were a couple of key improvements over the last year. First, function calling LLMs have made tool use much more predictable and stable. And also, specific tools like search have been adapted for agentic use.
Yes, if you think about it, when you do a query on a search engine, it will return multiple links that you can then follow to find answers. However, what an agent really wants are answers that you can then reference to the link. Also, the agent needs predictable format for its results. This is exactly what agentic search provides.
That makes sense. And by the way, I'm personally a user of LangChain and Langsmith and Tivoli. So I'm particularly excited to have both of you here. And let me start by describing agents and agentic workflows. Let's say that the three of us are going to write a paper together. Maybe I would start with some planning and try to put together an initial outline of the paper.
Yeah, and I can take it from there and do some research, maybe run some queries and compile documents related to our topic.
Okay, I guess that leaves me to write the first draft. I hope it's not a long paper.
Yeah, short paper, hopefully. And then after that, I might read over the paper, try to make some constructive suggestions and hand it back to Harrison to see if he wants to make some changes, or to Rotem to see if he wants to do some more search, and so on. And this would be an example of an agentic or an agent-like workflow in which we iterate to produce the work product. And in contrast to how people often use LMs to write essays today, which is to write a prompt and have the LM write the essay from the first word to the last word in one shot, this type of iterative workflow gives a much better work product. In fact, as a person, I don't write that well if you force me to just write from start to finish with no backspacing allowed. So concretely, you can similarly prompt an LM to tell it to write an outline, prompt an LM to write a draft or revise it, prompt an LM to do search, and so on. But to dive a bit deeper, let me share what I think are some of the key design patterns of agentic workflows. First, I think there's planning, which is thinking through the steps to take, like the outline and what to do after that. Then tool use, knowing what tools are available and how to use them, like our search tool. Reflection, which refers to iteratively improving a result, possibly with multiple LLMs critiquing and making useful suggestions to drive that type of editing cycle. Multi-agent communications, so you can think of each of us as playing a role akin to an LLM with a unique prompt to play a unique role in this process. And then memory, that is tracking the progress and results over the multiple steps. Now, some of these capabilities are related to the LLM itself, like function calling for tool use, but many of these capabilities are actually implemented outside the LLM by the framework that they operate in.
Exactly, and the LangChain framework has had many of these elements for some time. Memory is available in multiple forms. Supporting function calling LLMs and tool execution are available, and we talked about this in the last deep learning class we did, Functions, Tools, and Agents course. But LangChain has recently updated its support for agentic workflows. Here are some examples of agents that we now better support. So React agents was an early paradigm for building agents, and React stands for reasoning and action. Another example that we recently added support for is the example presented in the self-refine paper, where it does the iterative refinement that you were talking about. And most recently, you can see the alpha codium example, which creates a coding agent using flow engineering. And from all these diagrams, you can see that these agents and their behavior is defined by a cyclical graph. And so to support directly building agents like this, LangChain has extended to support Langraph. In this course, you will start by building an agent from scratch with just an LLM and Python. Then you'll learn about the components of Langraph by rebuilding that same agent using the Langraph components directly.
Since search tools are such an important part of many agent applications, you will learn the capabilities of agentic search and how to use it.
There are two additional capabilities that are helpful when building agents. First is being able to receive human input. This allows you to guide an agent at critical points. The second is persistence. This is the ability to store the current state of information so that you can return to it later. This is great for both debugging agents and for productionalizing them. We will build a project using Langraph, but you'll have to reach the last lesson to figure out what it is. And at the end,
Okay, that's a cliffhanger. You have to reach the last lesson to figure out what it is. Okay, with that, I think I've covered everything, but I still need to tell you what is my personal interest in that. Okay, we are right here. Right here. And we covered the news, we covered the new course. And by the way, that new course I think is absolutely must we need to reach the end and do that. Like, there you are. For the next session, we will, which is on the 14th, we will reach the last lesson and maybe try to do something. But now I can tell you that what my interest in that is AI tutor. Now, AI tutor, and I'll put it here. That's no secret. It is a name that you can hear anywhere, and you can hear it in the Khan Academy, which is the model for that kind of work. So let's talk about Khan Academy. First of all, if you go to ChatGPT, then you see ChatGPT right here, right? And you can talk to it. But you also see Tutor.me. Tutor.me is the creation of Khan Academy. Khan Academy deserves a couple of words. It was created by Salman Khan, H. I suspect it's Khan, but they pronounce it Khan. And recently they announced that it will tutor anyone in any subject that they have available for free, supported by Microsoft. So worldwide education for free, available to anyone, anywhere. And then I also listened to the book. So if we go to Audible, then in my library, that is this book, The Brave New Worlds, where Salman Khan expounds on his previous history and also all the way to the end of the book, that is 6 hours long, and it says, I finished it so far. I changed, I did finish it. So he talks about how he feels the future of the world will be. No comment on that. You can listen to it yourself. But he is an example of building on top of ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, he says, is very happy because there are many people who have problems with ChatGPT. First, schools blocked it, and then who knows what, and that was a very positive view to me. It's a worldwide education. By the way, I forgot to mention that Andrew Ng also mentions 3 hacker attempts by Russia, by China, by Iran, and the 4th one is by Israel, and of ChatGPT with the idea of doing something bad. So, and then they report we blocked them and we killed the accounts. So yes, future is very interesting, and that's what he talks about, and he represents the positive side of it philosophically and also practical. All right, let's go back. AI tutor is an idea that we will teach, not for free, but we will teach in addition, that will be combined between human and AI. And Amazon loved it, and they funded the effort. So they are paying the implementer. I'm leading the effort, and it will be maybe a suit AI, or maybe if that gets trademarked, maybe we'll call it something else. Microsoft also loved it, and they gave us the credits, right? You know, they give you credit if you are an AI company. Okay, that is my interest. That's my personal interest. And specifically, my interest is here. So where do we put the fact that we talked about the tutor? Just to mention, yes, we did talk about that. It's recorded anyway. So, how do you build it? Well, that's how you build it. And there is one place where I work together with the Amazon appointed developers. They do the architecture. They ingest the data, they get our lessons, they transcribe them. But then there is a place where you start talking to ChatGPT, or in this case to Claude, and that is not that easy. As you see all of these ideas that should go into this. So that's where I chime in and work with them directly, with the developers. They build the how do they call it? The architecture, or the scaffolding. That's what they build. And then I have a place where I'm supposed to come in, implement all this advice, and it will become a Kafka tutor. And if you say tutor me in Kafka, it will misunderstand you. If you say tutor me in Kafka, it will say, also, it's careful not to say anything, because Kafka is, of course, the writer, who is much more important than Kafka, the software product. And what I wanted is Kafka, the software product. So the way to do it is to use all this, add our slides, add our lectures, and then get a tutor who will teach you. So that's my personal interest. And here you are. I'm going to chat and questions. Who wants to speak? Okay, Charles Dialana. Do you know Steve Cunningham from Simple Academy AI? He has a certification process that is similar to the 6-man belt. He has them for AI users and IMAX and AI exec level. What do you think of the certifications? I see you have training track. Do you provide any certifications? That's one. And who wants to speak? Nobody so far. Oh, but maybe I didn't do it for everyone. So here, okay. So first of all, I haven't heard about Steve Cunningham. Probably it's a worthwhile effort to give certifications similar to Sigma Belt. We as a company, meaning we as Elephant Scale, we provide certificates on request only because people like to see that piece of paper. So we're not even on the level of Google, who has it blockchain certified. So I created a very funny looking, like a nerdy worm picture, and I make a certificate out of that. That's not really serious, but who said that you should be serious, right? So, well, so I need to look at it. Let me do this. It's one of the very worthwhile questions, and maybe I will copy that, since I already killed my own answer by saying that I'm not serious. That will not work, but your question is great. So what I will do is here, instead of that question, I'm saying question from Charles. There, and then not. That's the question. So I don't have an answer right away, and probably shouldn't give any answer right away. But next time we'll talk about this. Okay. More questions. Hey, and Charles, if you want to add anything to the question, being that I will have the time to look at it and come up with a reasonable answer. All right, Zach, thank you so much. And everybody, have a great day today, a great week, and a great year. Goodbye. Thank you, James. Thank you, Mike.